All right, here we are. Final live stream of 2021. The Sharks are done for this calendar year. They finish it off the right way, 3-2 in overtime against the Philadelphia Flyers. Are you ready for night shift? Let's do it.
Broadcasting live and worldwide. Here's Brody Brazil.
Hey, how's it going? See, I got to wait for the cue. I got to wait for the music to drop a little bit. I jump in. I start night shift. I just finished post-game live. Change real fast. Run upstairs. This stuff's pretty much all set up and ready to go. Like, I've got this set up, done when I get here. But just confirming that it's working. We're broadcasting live. You can all see me, hear me. I'll jump into the Q&A in just a second. I appreciate all of you for being here, by the way. It's a little bit later than normal. Obviously, with an overtime game, I scheduled 10:30. It's 10:48, so I probably won't be as long-winded tonight in the comments. But I think judging tonight's game, coming off an 8-7, track meet, pond hockey game, whatever you want to call it, watching the Sharks and Desert Dogs back on Tuesday night, it was like hard to figure out. They looked good at some moments. They looked completely rusty at some moments, rested at times, unraveling at times. And then tonight, you just get a much tighter hockey game. Tightened up, buttoned up, however you want to put it. The Sharks definitely just looked more in control of the contest. Now, they still made a couple mistakes, a couple turnovers or, takeaways that they couldn't prevent. And, Philadelphia, you got to give them credit. That was a pretty good effort by them on the road. Second game in as many nights. Second overtime in as many nights. And without Martin Jones tonight, Felix Sandstrom, born in 1997, 25 years old he's about to be. And he made his NHL debut tonight. And I thought it was the classiest move by James Reimer in the middle of his post-game press conference to say, I actually want to spend 30 seconds and talk about their goalie tonight, who kept the Flyers in the game. The Sharks put up 46 shots on net tonight. 46! Now, what's crazy is this. Last game, after the end of regulation, the Sharks had 7 goals on 24 shots. That's what type of game it was back on Tuesday. Tonight, in overtime with, the extra, 3.5 minutes or so, 46 shots and 3 goals. So the ratio, you can just see how it was a totally different hockey game. And obviously, Tuesday was abnormal, but it just was a total turnaround, and the Sharks get back to a 2 or fewer game. Now, James Reimer is starting because, Adin Hill is on the COVID list. But after a game like tonight, James Reimer, you'd want him to get that next start. And realistically, he didn't have a bad game last time out. I know, 7 goals for the Desert Dogs, but it was just that type of all-over night and so many D-zone turnovers last game. The Sharks cleaned that up. But it was almost like, as much as you talk about the Sharks as a team turning things around from last game to this one, James Reimer, to get the opportunity to go right back in there, right? You don't have to wait for an Adin Hill start. You get that next one to wipe away the 7 spot that you allowed last time. So I thought it was fun for the team. And I will say this too. You look at the Sharks' overall game and effort tonight. Because it was such a tight contest on the scoreboard, and because the Flyers did eventually score with, 3 and change left. Actually, it was about 4 minutes, but frustrating that the Sharks had the 2-1 lead. They just killed off the 5-on-3, and then Philly scores to tie it. That late, just a couple more minutes left in the game. And look, in overtime, anything can happen. Certainly in the shootout, anything can happen. And you just did not want it to get that far, because all the effort by San Jose would have gone, I say to waste if they didn't get the 2 points, but they were the better team tonight. So even in the slimmest of margins, I'm glad that they got the result that they deserved instead of, obviously, Philly getting those 2 points. Logan Couture's effort on the goal shorthanded, unbelievable, to strip Keith Yandel and then to go 5-hole. That's a playmaker's goal right there. That's a veteran who's confident with the puck, knew what he was doing, shorthanded, taking that risk, poking it away, going the other way. And to take it off the tape of Keith Yandel, that's a guy who's played, 900 straight games in a row like that. That is an established NHL veteran D-man right there. So that's not taking advantage of a rookie or anything like that. That's, that was a smooth move by Logan. And it was a weird sequence. Jeffrey Viel had dropped the gloves early second period. Milosh went into the box at 5:07, and then 13 seconds later is when Couture capitalizes. All of this in a game where the Sharks had the first two power play opportunities, couldn't convert, and then they get their first goal shorthanded. It brings up another point, though, and Randy Hahn mentioned this on the broadcast. The Sharks have drawn the fewest power play opportunities this season. So everybody talks about, power play conversion percentage and, what are you clicking at? Are you 17, 18, 19, 21%, whatever, but or less. But the Sharks are not even getting on the power play enough. And to the point, they're getting on the power play among the fewest in the entire NHL. And I'm having a hard time not figuring out why that is. I mean, I think the easy explanation is, well, you're not dangerous enough with the puck. You're not doing enough to draw these penalties. Some fans will say, well, the Sharks never get the calls. Okay, I will say that overall this season, I do feel like as a generality, the referees on certain nights just put the whistles away. More so than, the past 5 years, hypothetically. But that's across the league, and that would go against every team, and that would help the Sharks if they were, taking a penalty and didn't get called for it. So I'm not here to say that the Sharks are getting singled out, but there has to be something about their team, and I would be interested to know what Bob Bugner says about this, what the players say about this. Maybe we'll have the chance to ask, but it's one of those situations where I think what it says is that you're not putting yourself in enough beneficial situations where the opponent has no choice but to slash you, hook you, trip you, hold you, whatever. So that's an area for me that if you're looking at resolutions, here we are entering the new year, but if you want something to change for the Sharks in the rest of their season, in the 2022 portion of it, draw more penalties. Get more power play opportunities. They're a good power play team. Didn't get one tonight on the man advantage, had 4 different chances. But yeah, a lot of nights it's like they had 0 for 2 on the power play. 1 for 1, 0 for 1. They should get 3 and 4 power play opportunities. They should get 3 a night. Honestly, if you watch enough games over the years in this league and the Sharks, who they are offensively over the years, they should be getting 3 power play opportunities nightly. That should be the baseline. Expect that and hope for more. It just doesn't seem like they've been even at that mark this season. So I think it's imperative. Again, you can look at, should 65 and 88 be on the same unit? How, what does the power play look like? Do they not shoot enough at this point? And it's rare because I don't think the Sharks, honestly, in my 13 years or so of covering them and even before watching, I don't know in recent times that they've had problems drawing enough power plays. Certainly there have been times where they have all the chances, they can't bury them on the man advantage, but I'm talking about just getting on power plays. So there was that. Let's also talk about Brent Burns. Now, 3 goals through 32 games, knowing his prowess, knowing what he's capable of, him on the point, that shot, or even honestly when he plays like a forward and he jumps in plays and he stick handles. I mean, it's one of those things where a bar has most certainly been set for Burnsy offensively. You know what he's capable of. But 3 goals now. Tonight was his 3rd goal in 32 games. That's not the pace that Burnsy typically has. Now, I'm saying that, but I'm also not criticizing him. I'm actually saying that if you look at the team overall and you had to say, give me 3 MVP candidates of the Sharks this year, I think James Reimer's up there. Timo's up there. Logan, Logan tailed off here and there, but Brent Burns is for sure one of the top candidates, right? He is a finalist for MVP of this team, no doubt. So it says something that he only has, and I say only has 3 goals this year. He's done so much. been the top pair with Mario Ferraro playing 30 minutes a night when the Sharks were down all those defensemen. He has tightened up his game defensively, no doubt. So it is a bit abnormal to look and say, well, 3 goals, wow. That, if you're not watching this team and you're looking at that stat and you're saying something's up here, like Burnsy's having an off year. Not the case at all. So don't let the goal total deceive you with 88. Granted, would I love to see more of those blasts from the point? Would I love to see him do more of what he did tonight, jumping in a play, skating right down Main Street and firing away? Absolutely. But I'm not here to say that any change is necessary. He's been tight defensively. He's still been making plays offensively. The assists are there. So what? The goals aren't there. Honestly, it's not a problem at all. So again, to anybody who's watching from the outside and just looking at the stats and numbers, Brent Burns is doing just fine. Trust me. Now, the other half of that conversation is his D partner, Mario Ferraro, as of literally an hour before tonight's game, or even less, went on the COVID list. Now, I don't know how long Mario's going to miss. Depends. I mean, we've seen players miss one game, and then all of a sudden they take enough of the tests and they come back negative, and it was either a false reading or whatever, or it could be the full extent of it. It could be 5 days, it could be 5 games, it could be 2 weeks. We just don't know yet. But breaking up that pair, obviously, and I wish Mario the best in health. We don't know how he's even doing, symptoms or not. But you certainly, think about those two not playing together. That in itself is a bit of a departure from what, has been a mainstay for the Sharks all season long, is 38 and 88 as that top defensive pair. Anything else I want to discuss here before we get into the Q&A? Again, just to summarize tonight, good win by the Sharks, now up to 35 points. I think they're 5th in the Pacific Division standings, but, slowly creeping up to the middle of the pack in the division, and we'll see what they're capable of in 2022. Okay, let's dive right into that live chat, although I'm noticing here it's giving me an issue. Stand by 1 second. You know what? You can watch me troubleshoot this live right here. Do my pop-out chat. Oh, there we go. Now we're going to get it to work. I apologize. I'm going to go to the top here. Let's begin with our old friend T-Money. Let's go back to back to back, baby. Oh, no, just back to back. They did, right? I mean, and winning over Arizona, it was kind of one of those ones where you go like this. Great, we won. But tonight, it should feel like awesome. Solid effort. Philadelphia's they are on a 7-game point streak, so they're playing well. Overall, they've had a really rough season. They lost 10 in a row, and they've changed their coach. But they were a strong opponent tonight, and you put them away. It was close, probably closer than it needed to be at times, and the Sharks could have had a bigger lead and held on to a lead, whatever. They won. End of story. Hello, Maddie. Tips beanie because it's cold. Good evening. And I like your avatar. I've never paid enough attention to it. That's hilarious, though. That looks like me shaving today, getting ready for coming to work. Christopher, I really enjoy Barabanov's game. He progresses every game. I totally agree with you, and I really liked a point where it was Balcers, Barabanov, and Hurdle on a line. Now, obviously, Rudy has had the injury setback, and it's going to be quite some time before we see him again. But in the same way that I liked, his progress, what you're saying here, I absolutely like Barabanov's game too. And I think it was pretty clear at the end of last year, there were not a lot of bright spots with the team. The whole season, 56 games, the semi-bubble, everybody was fatigued. They were over it. But for Barabanov to be that bright spot in the final 10, 15, 20 games, I thought spoke volumes. And I think at the beginning of this year, he did not earn the opportunity right out of the gate, either with training camp or for opening night, but has since obviously jumped into one of those top 6 positions. So I like it too. I think there's a lot of upside for Barabanov, and I think he's a player who let's just say it like this, in 2 to 3 years could sneak up on you. And I mean, not most of you dedicated Sharks fans, but I mean like literally for a lot of people who are casual Sharks fans in 2 to 3 years are going to be like, where did this Barabanov guy come from? Well, obviously you'll know and you'll know, but yeah, I think it's going to be one of those situations. All right. Really good game, was sloppy at times, but very good. Again, and maybe I'm basing it off of last game, because if you want sloppy, last game was filthy. I think it was it Bonino who said he counted 30 D-zone turnovers by the Sharks? I mean, yeah, that is a recipe to get blown out. Instead, they won last game 8-7. Oh, Andrew, and I knew somebody was going to mention this. Finally, the stealth curse is over. The Sharks wear their stealth mode jerseys on Thursday, and it's been documented here on this channel. Fans like those jerseys. Fans like to wear them. Fans like to buy them, and I totally get it. They look sharp. They're not the typical black, everybody's got one of those jerseys. Good texture, good, the crest is a different color. But it's not about the appearance, and it's not about how they sell, because all those things are really, really good. It's about the Sharks do seem to have really, really rough luck when they wear those jerseys. But tonight, it bucked that trend. Somebody here before had given me stats on records, and I never really confirmed this, but they basically spelled out that even the Sharks' record when they wear those jerseys, and when they have for the last couple of years, things do not generally work out. Again, I'm not one to buy into curses or that level of superstition, but I have also noticed it too. So I'm glad tonight that it did not fit the model. I'm glad that it was an abnormal thing, if that's what we're calling it here. It wasn't that the curse was finally broken. It was that Batman and Robin came through clutch. Did anybody like that? Did anybody not like that? Curtis and I have been talking about that for years. The whole sidekick thing. I'm Batman, you're Robin, vice versa. And then, honestly, tonight, on our show rundown, it said Brownie has a surprise in the D segment. I was like, okay. I didn't know what it was. It could have been a lot of things. And so when he came in that last segment and plopped down 2 wrapped, packages, I was like, I know those are like human costume sized packages. And I could just see it in his eye. And there was 2 of them, and so we wore the Batman and Robin costumes. There's the video on my channel here. So, that was many years in the making. Many years of chirping and many years of hypothesizing finally happened tonight. Also, I think the Burns-Šimek pairing works. Maybe try Ferraro when he returns with Vlasic. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, look, I'll tell you this. Radim Šimek is a player who, when he debuted, and there was so much upside, but he has gone through so many injuries. He's gone through serious procedures. He's gone through a couple head injuries. What I'm saying is, I still really like Šimek's game. I hope there's a way to help spark him even further, to get even more out of him than maybe the Sharks had been able to. Delivering a couple big hits, that's kind of always in his calling card. I like Šimek, and yeah, maybe. I mean, maybe that will be the silver lining of Ferraro being out, is that you get Šimek with Burns for a while, and maybe that works, or maybe that sparks Radim. All of the above. So, and look, I'm okay with breaking up 38 and 88 if it means that you're deeper or if it helps the team, but I certainly know what works, and Ferraro and Burns have definitely been it this year. Tony saying Jeffrey VL, the fight against Sealer was the emotional turning point of the game. True punch-out. Then the puck bounces off the stanchion. Well, he poked it right off of Keith Yandel's stick. I definitely think that VL scrap, again, the VL scrap and then the Sharks going shorthanded, was kind of like splashing water on them, and they did wake up, and then they did score 2 goals in 2 minutes. So Bugner's coaching is steadying the team and its chemistry even more, but the Canadian border is going to close. Season shortened due to big COVID surge in January. Coaching will matter even more. There's two distinct thoughts there, Tony, and I'm trying to figure out. I'm trying to figure out how they're connected. As for Bugner, let me just say this. Oh, and I guess what? I didn't even have the comment on the screen. The more that I see Bugner operate, and the more I see his team respond, the more I even like Bob Bugner. And that's not to say I didn't like him before. That's just to say that I'm gaining even more of a better impression of him as we see him operate more. There's no question to me that he gets to the guys in the room, that he comes across clear, he's straightforward, he's a good communicator. All those good qualities are evident with Bob Bugner. And so, yeah, I do think steadying, the word you use there, very accurate. Now, that's one issue. Like I said, I'm not sure what you're tying in together here, but as for the COVID issue, as for the border issue, I mean, certainly there are some things well out of the league's control, like COVID itself, like the Canadian, procedures versus what the U.S. wants to do here, the border itself. You got 7 teams north of that border, and that's, you need flexibility and fluidity through that border. If you can't have it, I don't know how you can do a hockey season or how you can finish this one that you've started. I do agree with you. Surge is well on its way. It's already here. It could drastically get a lot worse. I'm not trying to be negative or make this live stream about this, but I do think that January is an interesting tipping point for the NHL. I certainly hope that February and on are much easier and kind of like they were last year. January was not easy last year for the NHL. It was not easy for a lot of teams like the Sharks. They were gone the entire month of January. Training camp starting the day after Christmas and didn't even play their first home game until mid-February, I want to say. So, Optimus Rhyme has been money. Timo for MVP. By the way, Alden, I just have to say shout outs to Alden because he's always such a good member of the community here. I think Hurdle is also a team MVP candidate. Jacob, you're right. And I omitted that one. That's why Brazil shouldn't think on the fly. I shouldn't do live streams, right? Because, I'm not that good in the moment. No, but you're right. You're right. Jonathan loves the Burns with Ferraro combo because it feels like Mario helps him be a better defender and the offense is now a complement and not the other way around. I agree. They do complement each other. Simmer's been put through the ringer. Totally agree. I think physically in the last couple of years, and going back to that hit, I guess it was about 3 or 4 years ago, almost exactly. Was it New Year's Eve 2018 into 19 when Šimek took that hit from Sam Bennett up in Calgary, and then he was just never the same the rest of that season. So, yeah, I hope he can. I hope he can continue going the right way. The dynamic duo, thanks Alden, was actually funny. I loved it. 22 means we get to see number 22 again, and I know what you mean by that, Dan Boyle. I don't know about you, but I'm feeling 22, said Taylor Swift. Am I going to get in trouble for saying that? Are the lyrics copyrighted? All right. Let me see if I can just get through a couple more, and then I will be probably signing off a bit early. Well, we started late, so. Haley, hello. Real talk, though. Are you still wearing the Robin tights? Nope. I got the Lululemon ABC pants back on. Full disclosure. When you saw Brownie and I in our Batman and Robin costumes, we were sitting down at the desk. Now, the rest of the evening, we were upstanding at our little demo area, the big jumbo screen behind us. The reason we were not standing up in our Batman and Robin costumes was because the pants were so incredibly tight on both of us that it was just a little bit too detailed and revealing. We walked through the office in them. We got a couple opinions, and it was like, you know what? You guys might not want to wear them like that, standing up, like, exposed in that way. You might want to sit behind the anchor desk for that segment. So we did, and I do not regret it. The outfit fit pretty well. Honestly, Brownie got me a medium. But everywhere it felt fine. Chest, legs, whatever, it was the right height. But man, around the midsection, it was like somebody was giving me a pull up your pants, like give you a wedgie. So anyway, yeah, I see the comment here. Somebody's calling HR on Monday. No, because if we wore those pants on camera, there would probably have been some comments and maybe even a complaint or two. Oh, absolutely not, Jacob. Give the people what they need. The tights would play. I'm pretty sure they would not. You took pictures of the dynamic duo intermission. Can't escape it on Twitter. Yeah, I know. And you're right. Haley is asking the tough questions tonight. So it was fun. It was a good way to end the calendar year with the win. We did it for one segment. Didn't want to overdo it too much. Tights review. Let me get to this. Dimebag Darren, Canadian coins. Geez, now that I've subbed, I see how hard you hit the net. Red Bull much? Sometimes. All right, final comment here from Matthew. Are you disappointed that the World Juniors basically got canceled because I think there were 4 positive COVID tests, at least 4. Let's just say that 4 positives out of, I think they said, about 250 participants, and that doesn't even add in, team staff and other traveling members of the different countries. And Matthew, I am disappointed, and I did appreciate the comment by William Eklund, who was bound to participate in that for Team Sweden. He's disappointed, but understands the situation. And I think that would be the same thing for me. Although, kind of what did you expect? I mean, you literally had all these teams already in Canada. They were already, basically, the wheels were moving. And you just shut this thing down and said, that's it. It's one of those things where I'm like, there was no foresight there. I mean, it would have been easier to cancel the tournament days before had you known that this was, you really thought you were not going to get any tests. I mean, it wasn't, as far as I understand, it wasn't like a formal bubble. Now, if you wanted to pull this tournament off and you wanted to make it so that there were no, chances taken, if it was fail safe, then put everybody in a bubble. Do a format like that where there's quarantining, come to Canada a little bit early or whatever, have the tournament later and bubble everybody up for 2.5 weeks or whatever it takes to quarantine and then play some games and do the tournament. But I guess what's upsetting is that it shouldn't have come as a surprise, the results that came out, and their reaction to them it's unfortunate. And I'm one of the most precautious people around as it relates to COVID, as it relates to doing the right thing. I think through all of this, and I don't think, I know through all of this, I've always prioritized life situations versus sports. And I'm a person who works in sports. It keeps a roof over my head, helps feed my family, like sport, and sports are what I love. I mean, sports are a backbone and a foundation of my life. Professional sports and covering them. But I don't want to look back 20 years from now and say, what were we doing? Trying to hold, tournaments and this and that during a pandemic, and did extra people suffer because of this? But that's how I overall feel. But what's happening here with the World Juniors, I don't know that, this was not going to exacerbate a problem, and this was just not done the right way, not executed the right way, not reacted to the right way. All of it is just so confusing to me. So, and yes, I hear people say, well, gosh, what an experience for these kids that they'll never get back again. And that is true. That is true. But haven't we all suffered to some degree and many degrees, infinite degrees in the last, coming up on 2 years now? All of us have sacrificed things. Being with our friends, being with our family, missing a vacation, missing somebody's birthday, anniversary. You couldn't be there. You couldn't do this, couldn't do that. Graduations didn't happen. School stuff, social stuff. So yeah, I do feel bad if the tournament doesn't get to be play it eventually, of course I feel bad. And the same thing for all the NHL players who didn't get to go to the Olympics. Of course I feel bad for all of you. But, like, this kind of goes with the crappy nature of 2020 and 21. Like, this is how things have been. So, I'll leave it with that. Yes, I'm disappointed. I am upset for them. But perspective here is that I'm kind of not completely shocked. And yeah, like here's Drew's comment. The real victim of the World Juniors were the young players. I agree, but again, we're all like, you know, everybody's taking a hit here. So it's not fair and it's not fun, but that's the way it goes. All right. That's going to be it. And Big Bird, thank you very much. And that's a good way to end it. I do hope everybody has a very safe and sound New Year's Eve. Make smart decisions. Nope, that was the show intro. Nope. And this is the pre and post theme. Nope. I want this one. Thank you. For the final time, I'm pretty sure I'm not doing any live streaming tomorrow. No. Taking the day off. Probably not New Year's Day either. So this is it. This is my final appearance on YouTube for 2021. And I want to thank everybody who's helped me grow this channel. I think I had a couple thousand subscribers back in January of this year. Got up to 10,000. You know, doing these shows, night shift on a regular basis. All of you, this community, it's not about me and effort, but that has been there. It's all about you guys being loyal, dedicated, and hanging with me. So I truly appreciate that. I will see you in 2022. Again, be safe, and thank you, and have a good night. See ya. Oh, don't forget to like and subscribe.